Well, then, let's go ahead and lie down on our backs. So just take a few moments to settle in, settle down, give thanks. And observe your breathing. So feel how long you are. Feel how long you are as you lie on the floor. What parts of you contact your mat, your carpet, your rug, your floor. Can you sense the lines of the legs, the length of the lines of the legs? The length of the line of the spine through the top of the skull. The width of the shoulders and where the arms grow downwards, and the length of your arms. And let's start with a test movement, because for all I know, what I saw a couple of weeks ago may have just automatically improved. So come onto your bellies. And have your, for our test movement, we'll do it once on one side and once on the other. Have your forehead down and your left arm long, on the floor, or on the floor, palm down, forehead down, and then stand the right hand so the elbow's in the air, and bend up your your right leg so the foot goes towards the ceiling. There we go. Now begin to lift your right knee away from the floor a few times, as though someone was standing and grabbing hold of your ankle and just pulling it straight up towards the ceiling. And lift your head the next time you do that. See if it's easier to lift the leg if you lift the head. And let's see, we have a standing hand. Let's pause a moment. Jeannie, put your right hand, do you have an injury? Can you put your right hand on the floor as though to do a push-up? Yes, there we go. So lift the head, lift the knee, and give a little push through the right hand. And start to roll gradually to your left side so that you can roll over your left arm and your right foot finds the floor behind you and guides you very smoothly and easily onto your back. And leave your left arm up on the floor long. So the left side is long. And now go back. How do you come back onto your face with all of these steps? And notice the order with which you returned to the floor. And then do this movement again. Do it several times. Do it in a way that you baby step your way there. You baby step your way there. So maybe you don't roll onto the left side right away. You roll a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more until it's comfortable, until you've determined when is the right moment to lift your head. When is the right moment to lift the head as the sole of the right foot is seeking the floor, and it finds the floor, and then you can lower yourself down, and then you can, how do you come back? What initiates rolling back onto the belly? And how do you control, how do you keep from falling? And what's the order of what comes down onto the floor? And how can you make it a little simpler and a little better each time? How can you make this movement? Yeah, you might want to start way over on the right side of your mat so that you're not rolling onto the cold, hard floor as you come onto your back. And in particular, notice the right knee. And when it comes away from the floor, do you lift the head? And when it comes back to the floor, does the knee come earlier than the hip? Does the knee come earlier than the belly? Is the knee one of the first things to seek the floor? Like your foot seeks the floor behind you, maybe your knee is seeking the floor in front of you. Maybe. And then let's stretch out and take a rest. You can rest on your back, you can rest on your side, you can rest on your stomach, however you're comfortable. Noticing your contact and your breathing. Now we'll play with the other side, but let's go ahead and play with the other side before we get a little deeper into things. So come onto your belly again, and let's just play with this a little bit. So it'll be the right arm long, the forehead will start down, the left hand will be standing somewhere to your side, the elbow in the air, and the left foot, left knee will be bent, and the foot will be towards the ceiling. So just begin to lift the left knee away from the floor a few times. Just lift the left knee and feel, where does the weight go? What happens through the skeleton? Does your right arm get longer, or does it just sort of stay as it is? Do you feel compelled to lift your head or not? Or perhaps you start feeling a rolling. You lift the knee, you can just sort of noodle around. What could you do from this position as a takeoff place, as a moment of pure potential, without having sort of a script, an end to your movie, We're just filming. This is not the final cut. And if you start to noodle around with rolling a little onto the right side and coming back, notice the place where you might stop breathing. The moment things get kind of hairy, scary, or difficult, we stop breathing. Something stiffens, something shortens. And that's okay, we're just becoming mindful of it. Just becoming mindful of that moment where it feels like, oh my God, I'm falling in. So, because one of our greatest fears as human beings is falling. So we don't want to fall. We want to guide ourselves onto our back and guide ourselves onto our stomach. So how can we improve this? Let's rest on the back. Ooh, Notice how you came onto your back. And now observe your breathing and observe the time that it takes to breathe in and the time that it takes to breathe out. And begin to make in your own rhythm count how many beats. Could be your heart. It could be, you could keep time with one finger on the floor. But how many beats does it take to breathe in? And how many beats does it take to breathe out? Marching to your own drummer. And can you begin to divide up this rhythm into 4 equal parts? So that there is an inhalation of however many beats you'd like, and then there's a stopping of the breath at the top of the inhalation, and for as many beats as it took to breathe in. And then you exhale as many beats as that, and you wait and don't breathe in as many beats as that. So it's a 4-4 timing, so to speak. The inhalation, the stopping of the breath at the top, the exhalation, and the stopping of the breath at the bottom. So find a comfortable, easy, square rhythm for yourself. And exaggerate the movement of the breath in so that your chest expands in all directions. And it's very obvious that you're breathing in. You hold it. And then it's very obvious that you're expelling all the air out and the chest flattens, the belly gets full, and you wait. So it's very obvious you're heaving in a measured way, heaving in and heaving out, so that you really feel how you do it. And it's very interesting to note, since we're all feldies and we're so sensitive to such things, can you expand the chest and the belly symmetrically? On the right and the left and the front and the back, you might notice I breathe in more on the right. Maybe I could breathe in a little more up here in this corner or down there in that pocket. So the breath becomes fuller and rounder and more symmetrical, the container of your breathing. And now continue breathing in this measured way, but can you breathe in the way that you might breathe if you were pretending to be dead and you don't want anyone to observe you breathing, like a possum playing dead? It's the same rhythm, but it's softer. And now we don't see the movement of the chest, the movement of the belly. And the movement is being done by the diaphragm. And unless you have a stuffed up nose, can you breathe through the nostrils and pay attention to the air coming in and out of the nostrils? Measured, quiet, smooth and continuous, unhurried. Nobody knows you're breathing except you. And like this, with the same quality of breath, can you come onto your belly without disturbing the rhythm or the softness of your breath? This is the most important thing from here on out. Whatever movements we do, even if you scooch, scooch, scooch into the middle of your mat, the breathing is invisible and so quiet and so measured. So you might take your time so that you don't involve the chest, the belly in your habitual way. And staying with this breathing, can you bend up both your knees and touch the edges of your feet together as we did a couple of weeks ago? So the knees are spread. Did you change your breathing as you wiggled into that position? Take your time and begin to tilt your feet to the left so that the right foot slides down the inner calf of the left leg. The feet go straight over to the side and come back. The knees stay bent at right angles. The legs go over there. So you're not straightening the left knee. It's moving over to the left, which means have your knees spread a fair bit. It's a rotation. It's a rotation. Yeah, the right side of the pelvis starts to come away from the floor a bit. And now extend your left arm and stand your right hand and continue sliding your feet like this. Over to the left, lower legs over to the left and come back. And if you feel that the head would like to turn towards the left ear, you can certainly allow that to happen. But allow it to happen rather than make it happen, because we're just breathing. The most important thing is this measured breathing. Softly, quietly, that the breath is not disturbed by any difficulty whatsoever. And that as a matter of fact, the difficulty might cease to be a difficulty if you simply attend to this way of breathing. And the next time your legs are vertical, bring your legs down for a rest. Bring your head or arms however you like, but the breathing is set. This is a constant. It doesn't change. It's running on autopilot, but you're aware, but you're in control of the autopilot. You are the autopilot. Autopilot with awareness, with self-awareness. And now come into the same position with your left arm long, your forehead down, your right hand standing with the elbow in the air, and the edges of your feet together with the knees spread in a triangle. Keep the breathing as you come into the position undisturbed. And now can you keep the edges of the feet together as you bring the lower legs over to the left? Keep the edges of, which means that the right knee will have to come away from the floor. The right knee comes away from the floor as you roll towards your left side, and the edges of the feet are stuck. And the whole pelvis turns. The whole pelvis turns, and you come back onto the belly, and the breathing is not disturbed. Notice when the right knee lands on the floor. And can you play with this kind of rolling with the edges of the feet stuck together? And once the heavy pelvis gets going, it's quite easy. But as you come back, can you protrude the abdomen into the floor so that the right knee does not come down on the floor early? So you could experiment with the lifting of the head, the protruding of the belly as you come onto the front. What's going to cushion your fall, if you are coming very quickly, is not the knee banging, but the belly pushing forward like an airbag to soften. And if you lift your head from the floor, you might find it easier to protrude the belly, lift the back, arch the back. This is work in the back, but can you do it without disturbing this way of breathing? That even though this may be quite difficult, the breathing is just in and out. This measured rhythmical breath that's soft and flowing, and there's not any of that. Bring the breath to the forefront. See the movement as an image in your mind. Keep making it simpler. So that the knee kisses the floor. And then let's take a rest on the back. Without disturbing the, did you forget? Did you lose it? Come back to it. Find your rhythmical breathing. Even as you fix your clothes and your hair and mind the cat. See, the cats will come when you're breathing like this. Stephanie, where's Jeffrey? What are you going to do, right? And as you continue to breathe in this measured fashion and you're resting on your back, can you experiment with slowly smiling, slowly exposing the teeth as though you're thinking of a secret joke? Nobody can see you breathing, but you almost can't stop yourself from smiling the secret smile. And notice what happens in your system when you bring the corners of the mouth towards the ears and expose the teeth in a genuine smile. In a genuine smile, this measured breathing, what happens with the length of your legs or your arms or your spine or your neck? When you're smiling, when you're smiling. And now can you come again onto your belly? But as you go there with your measured rhythmical breathing, smile. Slowly smile. Like, oh, this is whatever your private joy is, that you smile as you come onto your stomach. And does it change anything about the quality of the movement? The lengthening of the limbs and the ability to smile are dependent on one another. So can you now bring your right arm long and your left hand standing, and bend up your knees apart and lean the inner edges of the feet together and just begin to stroke the left foot down the inside of the right foot and let the right foot travel over to the right without interfering with the breath. And feel how much of the spine turns. Notice if the head is invited to turn. Make it simpler. And the next time, can you smile slowly and expose the teeth? Nobody can see you. I can't see you, so it's okay to be silly or feel silly. And what happens when you are at the very end of the smile, the place where the eyes sparkle and the smile is beaming? What happens in your right armpit or your spine or your neck? This big secret joke that you have for yourself. And then continue on in this way, but keep the feet attached. Keep the feet attached so that the left knee comes away from the floor. And the moment the left knee comes away from the floor, can you begin to smile? Like, this is a win. And keep your broad smile as you come onto the belly, and keep your measured and slow breathing. That the movement does not interfere with the breath. The moment you feel an interference, then maybe you should go back. maybe dial it back a little bit. And feel how the whole body rolls. And if you smile and genuinely mean it, can you feel parts of yourself lengthening? Perhaps the thighs and the hip joints, or the distance of the left elbow from the left shoulder, or the distance of the right armpit from the floor. Again, the movement is unimportant. This is lovely. Can you keep this and smile to yourself as you come onto the back for a rest without disturbing the rhythmical, smooth flow of the breath in and out of the nostrils, unless for some reason you can't breathe through your nose. Oh, lovely. Looks like everyone's underwater, moving underwater. And now slowly expose your teeth in a smile. Slowly bring the corners of your mouth towards its respective ear. And notice if you smile early with one corner of your mouth. And work at correcting that. Can you smile symmetrically? And might there be other places other than your mouth and your face that feel the result of smiling evenly, grinning from ear to ear? And don't stay with the face so that it becomes a grimace, or that you don't look like you're crying. So smile and then slowly have the smile fade. And then slowly bring the smile back. And of course, the breath is running underneath. And you smile, and then the smile fades, but pay attention how you feel when you smile. And without disturbing the breath, can you come again onto your belly? The most important thing is the measured and unhurried flow of air in and out of the nostrils. And adjust yourself as much as you need to. Just take all the time you need to so that you can do it in a way that is, you can move quickly without hurrying. You can move quickly without rushing. And now, can you turn the toes under so that the pads of the toes are down and you have an angle at your ankles, like a runner's, excuse me, a runner's starting block? And lengthen both your arms long on the floor and have your forehead down. And push through the right big toe and the next toe next to it, but mostly it's the right big toe, in such a way that the right knee comes away from the floor and there's a push that comes from the right big toe and goes all the way through the back and into the left arm, so that this pushing of the toe, of the foot. The ankle brings the knee away and connects to the pelvis and travels like a babbling brook through your back and lengthens your left arm along the floor. And it might even invite your head to roll a bit, start to roll a bit towards the left ear. So find that skeletal connection from the right big toe that brings the right knee away from the floor. And it's not about rolling onto the side, it's about the push from the right big toe lengthens the left arm. The right leg stays straight. Both feet stay on the floor with the heels facing the ceiling. Both heels stay facing the ceiling. It's simply a push on a diagonal. Push on the diagonal. Did you lose the breathing? Come back to the breath. And now as you push through the right foot, feel it come through. It starts to lift the pelvis a bit on the right. The right hip joint comes away from the floor, and you have to roll up through each rib on the left, and the left side of the chest softens. Think of the left side of the chest softening, 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 to allow the left arm to be pushed up, like pushing a rope, like pushing a rather sturdy rope, finding that pathway through to the ends of the fingertips. And rest. You can bring your arms down and turn your face, but don't move, don't change the breathing. Keep the breathing constant. Sort of set it and forget it, but be aware of it. Bring your arms long on the floor, turn your feet under, turn the toes under, and now find the other side of this puzzle. Find the left big toe pushes, the knee straightens, the pressure goes through the body. And let's make it a little easier. Let's place the right ear down. Let's place the right ear down. And press the left onto the left foot in such a way the right arm is long overhead, like you're flying in your dreams. And the breathing, the measured breathing, and find a push that clearly lengthens your right arm. So the right arm lengthens from being pushed through the skeleton rather than being pulled. Of course, you can lengthen your arm, but can you lengthen it? Can it lengthen passively? Can you find that push that as a reflex, almost, it lengthens? And the right side of the chest now, point by point, rib by rib, soften, flattens. And without disturbing the breath, come onto your back and take a rest. Observe the breath. In and out. Oh, Jeannie's back. You left. I thought, oh, this is terrible. But she's back. I think it's the internet. Okay. Come onto your belly again, but come on in a way that you lengthen one arm and stand the opposite leg. And come onto your belly by pushing through that standing foot. So you could bend up your right leg and have your left arm long, or bend up your left leg and have your right arm long. And you roll over the long side without disturbing the rhythmical breathing. You can bring your free arm in front to seek the floor. And can the belly cushion you? Of course, you're rolling onto a floor that's, yeah, we need unlimited space for rolling lessons. Maybe start on the far end of your mat. And if you're rolling to the left, come onto the right side of your mat, or vice versa. And just a few times without disturbing the breath. Lower, using the belly into the floor. When would you lift the head? As if you lift the head and lift the leg together, it'll be easier to round the belly forward. Push the belly forward. As you come onto your belly. We'll see if this is a little easier along the long left side. Now, the next time you lift your knee, whichever knee it is, does the lifting knee push the long arm longer? Can you lift the knee and the long arm gets longer because the lifting knee presses the body weight into a soft chest that flattens and lengthens on the floor and opens the armpit a little more. So that knee lifting has something to do with lengthening the long arm. Experiment with lifting the head, with not lifting the head. And of course, the breath is on its soft autopilot. And if you can breathe in this way consistently through the difficulties melt away. The breath is the tell. The movement is not important. Try smiling. As you lengthen, as you lift the knee away from the floor, and you feel that length traveling through you like a brook, like a river. Can you smile? Can you smile and feel the length? Oh, and oh, how delightful to smile and come back onto the belly. Rest as you need to and play with the opposite side. First, just play with lifting the knee and lifting the head, or lifting the knee and not lifting the head, and listen for the path through the skeleton from the lifting knee through the long arm. You know it's lengthening because you feel the hand creeping away from you on the floor. You could lift your head to look at your creeping hand away from you, And the breath is not disturbed. And then you go around all the way onto your back. Oh, and smile. 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 And as you come back, smile and feel yourself get longer. But it has to be a true smile. It can't be a fake smile. The eyes must sparkle. And the breathing is not disturbed. And if the smile turns into a grimace or the breathing stops, well, maybe you've gone into some uncharted territory and it's time to take a rest. So let's take a rest. Without disturbing the rhythmical, smooth, and uninterrupted flow of your breathing. And observe yourself. It's almost as though with this type of breathing, thinking ceases. It's just presence. The air in and out of the nostrils. And what if you exposed the teeth and drew the corners of your mouth equally towards each ear? What changes? Without disturbing the breathing, one last time, come onto your belly. Both arms will be long. And place your chin on the floor so you can look forward. Turn your toes under so both heels are parallel towards the ceiling. And push through both feet so that both knees come away from the floor and the weight of the pelvis lifts away from the floor as though you're lifting a wheelbarrow. Your legs are the handles of the wheelbarrow, and the weight goes into the front of the wheelbarrow and onto your chest. Onto your chest, and you are pushed forward. The arms are pushed away from you. So next time, start with the forehead down. I think it might be easier to feel it this way. And as you push through the big toes and the feet come away from the floor and the weight of the pelvis comes away from the floor and you come with the weight of the body onto the chest towards the collarbones, the nose is pushed along the floor away from you and the chin goes forward and might even lift, and the arms are pressed away from you because you're using the weight of your body to flatten the chest. How are you going to lift the wheelbarrow? And all the weight goes into the front wheel, and that front wheel is your chest and sternum. And the weight of the body presses, the nose slides along the floor in a straight line, and the arms are pushed away from you. And can you do all this without disturbing the breath? It's like I could come in, I could pick up your legs, I could push them because you'd be keeping them straight, and I could push you along the floor on your chest. You can push yourself. This is how babies start to crawl. They got to lift that butt high in the air so the back gets strong. We're using this to soften the chest and lengthen the arms. Now, what if the next time you smiled? At the moment you feel you're approaching your full length, what if you started to smile? Would you get even longer? The joy of the hands creeping away from you. What a delight. And then without disturbing the breath. Can you bring one hand? Let's bring the right hand to standing. Turn the left foot so the nails are down towards the floor. So the right hand is standing. The left leg is long, the left arm is long. And now lift the knee away from the floor in a way that you feel the left arm get longer. And then you can roll onto the back, over the long left armpit. Without disturbing the breath. And then can you smile and come back onto the belly? Smile as you come back onto the belly. Smile, lift the head. Yeah. Feel the length of the left arm being maintained by the lifted right knee. So think that the movement begins from the lifting knee and ends with the knee being the last thing to come to the ground. The leg starts bent at a right angle. We're back a few paces, seeking the floor. Yeah, we're back on a few paces in the lesson. The right leg stays bent. And then simply change the legs. Lengthen the right arm, bring the right leg down, stand the left hand, bend the left leg, lift the left knee so that it lengthens the right arm. If it doesn't lengthen the right arm, don't continue rolling. Lift the left knee, look at the right hand as it is pushed away from you. Find the timing. Find the path. Then once you feel the right arm getting longer, you can give a little push with the left hand. Is the left hand well standing in a good place to transfer the weight? Think of that flattening chest. Without disturbing the breath. Smile. Start to smile the next time you bring your knee away from the floor. This is the beginning of the lengthening and the connection to smiling. They are bound together. We grimace when things are difficult. When things are easy, we can smile. I think we can even train our own happiness. And leave it. We'll leave it for today and come on to the backs without disturbing the breath. And I'm going to leave you with some homework. So we won't come together at the end today because the homework for the next few minutes at least, as you get up and as you roll up your mat and you go to the bathroom and you go into the kitchen to make yourself a cup of tea, whatever it is you do over the next, let's say 10 to 15 minutes, can you continue to breathe like this in this measured, rhythmical way through the nose, out the nose, in a way that's so quiet a predator wouldn't know you were breathing? And just feel what that does for you. You might find that without thinking of it, you breathe like this for quite some time. Have a great day.